In this series of videos, our focus is on various techniques programming multi-threaded GUI applications with JavaFX library. To begin, I would like to revisit our first button click counter application. So let me just start the application here. So if you recall, we had this small window with the counter label, and when you click the update, it updates the number of clicks. In this application, we wanted to demonstrate the model view controller design using the data object named model counter. So let me open this file. And of course, we use JavaFX library for building a graphical user interface presentation tier. You can find the source code for this demo in this subfolder, week 1301 data publisher subfolder of the source code for this video lecture. The reason for this new version of the click counter is that I changed the click counter model class to inherit from the data publisher superclass. And since I would like to send update notifications from the data tier to various parts of the view tier in the model view controller design, I decided to separate the listener and subscription services into a separate base class, and I named it data publisher. Let's show both of these classes side by side. The data publisher class is now a superclass of the original model counter. And as you can see, model counter extends data publisher. So the model counter is now a subclass of the data publisher. Notice that inside the data publisher method notify observers uses a reference to the listener or subscriber on change method when updating the listeners. Now, inside the controller, okay, so this is our controller, previous tab. So inside the controller, this latest modification, unfortunately, we must use typecasting to convert the data publisher to model counter in order to access the properties of the data object by using this typecasting operation in front of the reference to the model counter, which now has become a reference to the data publisher because these notifications are being sent from the level of the superclass, the data publisher, inside this notify observer method. This looks bad because it's both unsafe and ugly in terms of the casting, and it's a strange requirement to have the users of the class to cast simple references like this to a specific type. The casting always indicates some sort of design flaw. So here is the second version of the publisher, right? And you can find the source code for this next version of the click counter in week 1302 data publisher. So in this updated version of click counter application, I made data publisher a generic class parameterized by the actual publisher. You can see how I use the publisher, and this allows me to make the casting before I distribute updates to the subscribers of the data changes in our new data class. So this spares the rest of the application from the need to do the casting, and everything looks natural in the controller now. Okay, so if you see now this casting is no longer required, we can go back to the normal property access inside of our data object because all necessary casting is already taken care of at the data publisher level. And another update is in our model counter is that now it has to extend the data publisher, parameterizing it by its own data type. Now we should be ready to move on to our next model view controller project, which is called the running clock.